Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and this is a YouTube video you won't typically see because of what I have here with me. Right here I have a $30,000 Buick Envista Avenir, the top trim of the entry into the Buick brand. And over here I have a $72,000 Genesis GV70 in its top trim, and starting off the luxury crossovers from the Genesis brand. That's right, this is over 2 times the cost of this Buick. And in the luxury crossover world, are you really getting twice the car with the Genesis? What all are you missing out on with this Buick? In this video, I aim to investigate that. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. There's no way this is a fair comparison. This Genesis cost over twice what that Buick does. But given the fact that they are both entry-level luxury vehicles for their respective brands, I figured it was worth a look while I had them both. What all do you get here in this Genesis GV70 at $72,000 that you don't get in that $30,000 Buick? Well, quite a lot, actually. We'll start from the front and work our way back. First and foremost, you get baby Bentley styling. The Genesis brand has been nailing it lately with their styling. I am a huge fan of everything that they produce currently and plan to produce in the very near future. They have been killing it with style. This thing turns heads everywhere it goes, from that baby Bentley grille to the updated 21-inch wheels on our tester, to the Series Blue premium paint on this one. It is absolutely a head turner wherever you go. This is a very good style and presence vehicle, in addition to being a great luxury vehicle. With what motivates this, it's even better than the Buick. We have a 3.5 liter twin turbocharged V6 under the hood, twice the cylinders for twice the price, and twice the turbos. Just, yes, you are getting more in the performance aspect on the Genesis over that Buick, and that's to be expected. When you have more money to sink into a vehicle, you're sweating the small stuff, and Genesis is absolutely sweat the small stuff with this. The powertrain, ready, eager to go no matter where you are in the power band. It is a very good, very potent, very eager engine and ready to go. And it does send power down to all 4 wheels via an 8-speed automatic that I can control via flappy paddles on the back of the steering wheel. So this is the performance vehicle of the two, not only by power numbers, but by the suspension. The suspension is actually watching the road ahead of me and pre-adjusting. It's got road preview, so it knows what is coming up in the road before we even get there, giving you a soft, smooth, supple ride no matter where or what you are driving on. Very, very top level luxury stuff here in this Genesis GV70. And then moving to the inside, this is where you want to be. And I want to just call out Genesis. They have been stalking me for a while. We first tested their electric GV60, and I said they were coming after me because that vehicle was styled and colored specifically for me. The interior matched some luggage that I had bought years ago. I'd say this interior also is suited towards me. The ultramarine blue, we have Nappa leather, and hello, orange seat belts in a luxury vehicle. Love it. But yes, so much to love here in the driver's seat of the Genesis GV70. I am getting a back massage right now, though Genesis stops short of actually calling it a massage, and they call it ergo motion. They only give it to me here on the driver's seat, so my front passenger is left wanting in the massage department. But, well, let's face it, I'm going to be driving this car a lot by myself versus how many times I'm driving with a passenger with me. So, yes, focus on the driver, please. That's not to say that the passenger seat is lacking in features either. Both front seats are heated and ventilated, again, wrapped in Nappa leather. And you can control the passenger seat from right here, these seat controls on this side. So if you wanted to chauffeur somebody in the back seat, you could give them a little extra room very easily without having to move all around. Speaking of the back seat, we do have heated outboard seats back there in the back, another nice luxurious touch. And they recline to give you a nice view out of our very deep tinted panoramic glass roof in this one. So the luxurious features just keep racking up in this one. Not to mention grabbing this heated power tilt and telescope steering wheel is a very nice experience. There's a lot of cushion to this leather wrapped steering wheel. It's got some sport perforation around it. It's got a flat bottom for extra sportiness. And then I've got all my controls for my driver assistance and everything here on the steering wheel. So I never have to take my hands off the wheel to control my Genesis. I even have a touch sensitive directional pad here. I even get head-up display, so I don't even have to look down at my massive 27-inch screen hidden behind the steering wheel. Here. Genesis is very proud of this new OLED screen in the 2026 GV70. So I've got a large section here dedicated specifically for driver information functions, and I can change the displayed information here in front of me. And then I have Apple CarPlay over here on this screen. Wireless Apple CarPlay, might I add. Though if you don't like that, you want the big cohesive look, you can absolutely scroll across and see the full screen effect right here. And it does take in ambient lighting for the screen design back here behind the gauges to give you a very cohesive look all the way across. I will lament when you put it in CarPlay mode, you get these hard cut-off edges, kind of showing you that you do have a 2-in-1 screen effect here. It's not quite as cohesive as I would prefer in my luxury Genesis. And then the materials in here, we've got carbon fiber inlays everywhere. We've got ambient lighting. We've got faux leather on the dash with contrasting orange stitching. Everything is nice to touch in here. And this is a great place to spend some time. I absolutely love every Genesis product that they bring us. And I think this one is aimed and geared most towards me at this stage in my life. But that's not to say that the Buick is lacking in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so very clearly a different vehicle hopping in this Buick after just being in that Genesis. And I know a lot of you have probably already typed the comment that Buick is just a gussied up Chevy Trax. And, well, yes, that's true, but that isn't a bad thing. We have long held that the Chevy Trax is a great bang for the buck vehicle here in 2025. And this Buick just ups the ante, giving you some things in this Envista that you cannot get in the Chevy Trax, like a power liftgate and leather seats. So yes, there are some more luxurious touches here in this Envista that invite you to go over to your Buick dealership and leave the Chevy in your rearview mirror. But how does this truly compare to the Genesis? Yes, they both have 4 wheels. Yes, they both seat 5, yada, yada, yada. There are a lot of similarities. They're both a premium blue. Here we have this ocean blue metallic paint on this one. But the style of the Buick brand has taken a turn to turn more heads. Starting with the Buick Wildcat concept we saw a couple years ago at the Chicago Auto Show, leaning into the new design language of Buick. When this Envista first hit dealer showrooms, a lot of people didn't even know what it was. I have gotten several text messages asking me, what is this vehicle? To which I say, well, it's a Buick. Wasn't that a Buick ad campaign there for a little bit? I think it was. But the looks of this Buick are very future forward for the brand. Not so much leaning on the past with the portholes and all of that. Here we have a SUV coupe-like design with that larger rear cargo area than what you get in a Chevy Trax, thanks to that kind of bubble butt rear window on the back. The whole exterior design screams premium, but at a budget. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just, you can tell there wasn't quite the time, energy, and attention, nor money spent on this Buick, but that doesn't mean it isn't worth looking at. This Buick Envista is a head turner and is definitely not worth sleeping on when it comes to exterior style. Moving to what motivates this. Yes, we have half the cylinders and half the turbos and over half less power in this one. We even have 2 less gears in our automatic transmission. But for the most part, driving this around, commuting as I'm doing right now, getting stuck in stop and go traffic, I can get twice the fuel economy, thereabouts, so you can go twice as far. I'm looking at a nearly full tank now, and it will take me 318 miles on regular fuel and on a slightly minuscule tank. So this Buick Envista, while it may not have the power of that Genesis GV70, it definitely can take you long distance in a nice, luxurious ride. So is the ride half as good as what the Genesis gives you? Well, you are giving up some obvious luxurious features like the adjustable suspension with road preview. Yeah, the suspension here in this is not watching the road. In fact, the only adjustments to road situations are the active noise canceling here in the cabin. As far as the suspension goes, we get a McPherson Strut front, but a compound Watts Link rear suspension. So clearly a more affordable suspension setup, but that too allows you a more affordable vehicle. That's not to say that you're beat up when riding around or driving this Buick Envista, but it's definitely not the driver's car of the two. You're definitely going to want to carve more corners in the Genesis versus being behind the wheel of this Buick. It's nice, it's calm, it's comfortable. It gets you from here to there without punishing you in the process. But yeah, the Genesis clearly had more money to spend on suspension technology, and it shows. And then we have the interior of this Buick Envista. And yes, that's definitely where you can see the old school GM roots on this. We get a lot of hard plastic in a lot of places, but we still get some nice screen real estate here in front of me. No, we don't get that big 27-inch OLED screen in the Genesis. We get an 8-inch screen here that does a fair amount of useful communication to me as the driver, most prominently the speed there in the center. And then we still get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto on this 11-inch screen over here, though you don't get much features beyond that. Buick is clearly leaning to Apple and Google to make their interiors feel a little more premium and modern on the technology side. But I do applaud Buick for giving us wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in an affordable vehicle such as this one. You still get controls on the steering wheel. My volume and tuning here are on the back side. We do have adaptive cruise control. We even have heat on this steering wheel, though it is much more thinly padded and doesn't feel as race-inspired or sporty as what we get in the Genesis. It is still a nice, more premium steering wheel than the Chevy that this shares a platform with. And while we don't have a power tilt telescoping steering wheel, you still get a manual tilt telescope steering wheel. No dual zone or tri-zone climate. Yes, the Genesis does have 3 zones of climate. You just get one lonely zone of climate in this Envista. But I would say in a vehicle of this size, it's not really that big of a deal. Holly ends up turning all the vents away from her anyway when riding shotgun, no matter where I have the temperature set. So no big complaints there. We still get a wireless charger that works, sort of. We get USB-A and USB-C ports here in this Buick. And we get an oddly very tall center console here. And yeah, again, the materials on it definitely show that this is a more affordable vehicle. Is this half the vehicle of that Genesis? No, but clearly sacrifices were made in the vein of keeping this affordable. This really does help get you into the Buick brand and work your way up the ladder. Whether you want to start here with this Envista, go on up to the more midsize Envision, or go all out with the 3-row Enclave, This really is setting the scene for more people to take interest in the Buick brand, something that GM really needs to happen here on US shores. In fact, the only reason Buick missed being axed in the '08 financial crisis is just how well these sell in the Chinese market as a luxury vehicle. Otherwise, I still think we would have Pontiacs terrorizing the streets here in 2025. Now, I didn't talk about the back seat in both of these, but the back seat of this Envista is surprisingly roomy. And because General Motors decided from the get-go this would be a front-wheel drive only vehicle, they gave you a completely flat load floor there in the back. So if you're hauling around 3 young kids or even teenagers, you are definitely going to have more foot space there in the 3rd row. So for a luxurious vehicle that fits some rowdy passengers back in the back seat, this Buick may be the one to shop for, just so you're not tearing up something that cost you a pretty penny. This really is an entry into overall luxury across the board. This may be a luxury vehicle that you get for your teenage driver as a first vehicle, and there really is a lot to like. If you want to know more about either one of these vehicles, we have 2 videos diving into each of them here on the channel. A review with just myself where I take you on a deep dive tour, show you all the buttons, show you everything about it. I even 0 to 60 test both of them to see just how quick they are. Then we also have a family review of each where Holly is behind the wheel, do her unbiased opinion of each, and we install Tucker's child safety seat in the back, and he gives you his opinions from the back seat as well. Well, there you have it, gearheads, a head-to-head comparison that you won't typically see here on YouTube. At $72,000 as equipped, this 2026 Genesis GV70 is the clear winner in all-out luxury. You've got that performance twin turbocharged V6 under the hood, giving you tons of power, all-wheel drive, a suspension that watches the road and adjusts before you even get there. And then the very luxurious interior, the Nappa leather seats that are heated, ventilated, give you a driver's massage, the OLED screens. All the luxury is clearly here in the Genesis. But at half the price, over half the price, this Buick is worth a look if you want to ball on a budget. The presence and the style of the new Buick brand is definitely turning heads. A lot of people have been questioning exactly what this is if they haven't gotten used to the new Buick logo or design language. And yes, while you are skimping on some luxuries that we get here in the Genesis, this is still a very well-equipped vehicle at $30,000. So 2 different luxury vehicles aimed at 2 different luxury customers, but still giving you great value at each price point. If you liked this video, go ahead and give us a like so that we know to keep producing head-to-head comparisons like this. If you want to see more content from us, hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell so you are notified every time a new video drops. Find us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. But as for me, with these 2 luxury vehicles, until next time, gearheads.